flame in your eyes. I'm born to love again. I'm a brand new man. Well, the whole town's talking about the line I'm walking that leads right to your door. Oh, how I used to roam.
Good morning, Calumet Region, and welcome to the Calumet College of St. Joseph show. For those of you watching on video and thinking Johnny Craig has really let himself go over the summer, relax. My name is Brian Lowry. I'm the Director of Grants and External Affairs at Calumet College of St. Joseph, and with me is President Amy McCormick. Amy, how are you doing this morning?
Good. Always good to be here. Thank you for filling in for Johnny. Really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. So just an update, Johnny did leave the college. He is on to bigger and brighter things. We're very excited for him. And in the meantime, I will be filling in. But Amy, would you like to say a couple words about Johnny and his departure?
Well, I'd like to think he's still very connected to the college. He will support us, I know, from near and far, but he's been just a great partner for me over, I think, almost 7 years. And we have definitely done great things together and lots to show for it. So certainly I will miss him, but I like to think that he will be around quite often and supporting the college and cheering on our students and, coming to check out all the things that he also helped to start.
Absolutely. And we can come back to one of those things in just a second. But before we really dive in, we want to make sure that everyone's aware of some upcoming events that we have tonight, and it's going to be a busy night in the region. Tonight at 6 o'clock, there will be an opening reception in the Bernard Art Gallery in the college's main academic building. That runs from 6 to 8, and in celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month, the show that we will be featuring is called Through Their Eyes, Father and Son, and it will feature the works of Francisco and Cesar Quadra. And it's a really great show. It's a dad and son who are doing different kinds of art, obviously reflecting different times in their lives. The other thing that we'll have in the Bernard Gallery will be on Thursday at noon, and that will be the Whiting-Robertsdale Historical Society's History Lovers meeting. So all are welcome to come join that. I believe the topic will be a speaker talking about the history of Halloween. In athletics, we have a couple of games this weekend. Our women's soccer team plays tomorrow at 10 a.m. That will be at our home field at East Chicago Central. And we have our Sprint football home opener tomorrow at 7 p.m., and that will be at our home turf at the Whiting High School football stadium. And Amy, I know you try to make as many of these athletic events as you possibly can. Who have you been able to see in the past couple of weeks?
Ooh, okay. Well, I've seen both the men's and women's soccer. Last night I was at the volleyball game, so the women's volleyball game. I missed their home opener, but I caught last night's, and I tell you, it's so full of energy because we have several new players, and actually we have. We'll talk a little bit about this, I'm sure. We have a much higher enrollment, so we've got a great entering class, and which brings a lot of new students and new energy and new teammates. And I just love to see their excitement and their support of one another on the sidelines. Last night in the third game, I felt like we were going for the championship game. They were so encouraging of one another and the coaches as well. So I just love to see that energy and the support for each other. And then certainly we will have our home opener, so Sprint football, so far undefeated. So that's always, I hope Saturday night is a beautiful night like last night was. But looking forward to that.
Absolutely, yeah. The football team is not only undefeated this year, but back-to-back champions for the league as well. I got to catch a little bit of the softball doubleheader last night. That was also really exciting, and we won the first game. And I know the girls were certainly in a pretty healthy lead when I had to check out. You mentioned, though, that we had the largest incoming class in some time, and that was, Johnny's great parting gift to the college.
Yep.
Was really one of the largest incoming classes we've seen in how long? 10 years?
Of 9 years for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. In
And-
my time there, so that's how I'm starting my 9th year, so I haven't gone back further than that.
And not only the largest incoming class, but some of the highest retention that we've seen in a number of years as well, correct?
Yeah, so the highest retention in 5 years for sure. And, the highest fresh or traditional student, I don't want to say freshman, our traditional student population, it's been the highest since 2016. And so that's been really exciting to see all the energy on campus. And I was at an alumni event last night. Actually, I'll do a promo for Beach Buds in Miller, because that is also owned by one of our alums. And so we had an alumni social there last night with a beautiful sunset over the lakefront from Marquette Park and Gary. And one of the things that he said is he loved Calumet College so much because it's this small environment, but it feels big because there's just, and he mentioned the support of one another, the students, like the athletes going to support the other teams, and just the activity. Certainly we experience it, whether it's in the commons or second floor or you experience in the classroom. There's just a lot of energy and activity, and this alum, he was talking about that before we even had residence halls. So he was just saying the combination of the small environment, but then the energy was something he really loved.
Well, and that energy really was experienced in a powerful way at the new student orientation and the parent orientation, and you got to address both of those groups. What was your message to those students and their parents?
I talked to the students a lot about just this transformational year that we're going to have. So the new students that came in, we have so many things happening this year that I was telling them that the difference on campus between their first few days, first weeks of classes, and then when they get ready to go home next fall is really going to be phenomenal. So they are at the college at such a unique time. And of course that all the construction, can certainly create some inconveniences. We're replacing windows right now, and the sound of that, and that's working right above my office right now. But to be able to think, and I can certainly envision it because I'm part of it, what the campus is going to look like next spring and certainly next fall when they come back. And so I was talking to them about that, just amazing time in our history for them to be a part of. And we've got such momentum, so it's very exciting. And I talked to the parents also about that as well, and was grateful to the parent orientation. That's something that's grown significantly, and we've moved to different places. So we're now in our largest room, and it was pretty full. So I think next fall we're going to have standing room only, or we might have to tent our alumni park. But we know that parent involvement in their students' education, how helpful that is for students. So it's great to see even brothers and sisters and parents and grandparents. I met quite a few grandparents that were there too.
It does take everyone.
Yeah.
You talk about the energy of returning to campus and all of the construction and all those kinds of things. So what has been happening over the summer that is helping drive some of this momentum?
Well, one of the most exciting projects is our seventh floor heritage room. So I want to do a shout out and a promo to our alumni because I'm sure there are so many that are listening that I would love to have them back on campus. So I do want to just make an invitation that I meet so many alumni that haven't been back to campus, and they walk through and they're just so surprised. They're just like, wow, this is just so different than when I went to school here. And the seventh floor, many people haven't seen, or I have met a few alums that have seen it by secret access or when they weren't supposed to be up there, I think. But, you know, it was a vacated space and has been dormant for about 30 years, but it is going to have sweeping views and just amazing heritage room.
I think it's been vacant for longer than that. So those unfamiliar with the main academic building at the college, it was constructed in 1949 by Standard Oil. They donated that to the college in 1973, and so we moved out of storefronts in East Chicago and moved into the campus there in the Robertsdale area of Hammond. And the seventh floor never had elevator access. And served as kind of an attic for the rest of the building. And through the Lilly gift, we and some other substantial donors, we're turning that into an accessible area that will serve as a community gathering space, a college gathering space, and it does look out over Lake Michigan and just provides, and Whiting, Robertsdale, and just some magnificent
the Lost
views.
Marsh Golf
The
Course.
Lost Marsh, yeah.
And that's certainly some of Hammond's real treasures.
The skyline of the refinery and the steel mill in the background, it really is amazing. And that's one major construction project. You also mentioned the window construction
so we also
project.
have an alum and a donor that has been just an angel for us, and our windows are being replaced. We had 2 stories on our south wing replaced, I guess, last October. And then this year we are replacing the entire 6 stories on the elevation that faces south. And so the 7th, we're working our way down. So the 6th floor is being done right now. The 7th floor is part of our heritage room. And so that'll be done with the new construction project. So we're working our way down. So hopefully when we open the 7th floor, certainly people will have interest to look up and see the terrace up there, and so that we will have all new windows. And, you know, while that is aesthetic and makes a huge improvement, it's also, we have single pane windows, so we didn't want to do that during the summer when we had air conditioning. So we're trying to find that sweet spot where we can take out windows, put up boards, and then follow along with the new windows. But and also leaks around the windows. So it was really something that was long past due, as you know, and I know from my office too. We needed new windows, so that'll help control some of our heating and electric bills.
And I learned recently that the new windows are replacing windows that were installed in 1955, right?
Okay.
So we learned this a couple weeks ago. The Whiting Robertsdale Historical Society and John Morovic had an incredible event at the college where they talked about the Standard Oil fire from 1955, and it was packed. It was beyond capacity seating in there, and they talked about the explosion of the hydroformer that happened that morning, and how it blew out windows not only in our building but all throughout the region, and it was such a pivotal moment in the lives of people who experienced that. It was really fascinating to meet some of those people, hear those stories from 70 years ago, and also meet some alums. You got a chance to meet alums that evening as well, right?
I think there were probably 12 alums in the audience, so that's exciting for me because that's something I love to do, is meet new alumni. And that was a really great event. Again, that was standing room only in room 200. And so I don't know how many people we had, but it was a crowd pleaser and just so interesting for me, not, you know, you've heard about it and your family probably experienced it, where for me it's just something I've heard and read in books. So to sit next to someone who experienced it and have her share a bit about the day of was really a great event.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun and learned a lot.
Yeah.
It was great. Those construction projects are some of the projects happening on campus, but we also have a couple of construction projects, one completed.
We enhance our community and college collaboration. So the Whiting High School field where we play our sprint football games in Whiting High School, and I think some other leagues in the area play on that field. That's been returfed and ready to go for our home opener. So I walk by it on my walks in the morning, and it looks amazing, but it'll be really fun to see them play. And then I also walk by Oil City Stadium and Standard Field, and that's all torn up, and the grass layer is removed, and that is being replaced with artificial turf too. So that'll allow certainly the high school, the college, but also other leagues that use
the
that
Northwest
field.
Indiana Oilmen.
Exactly.
That's their home field.
And so 3 people are using that regularly, and that will allow us to kind of remove some of the weather conditions that keep us off the field, and it will be a great playing space. So that's very exciting. You know, the other thing I wanted to mention, again, because I had mentioned Alumni Park on campus, which if you're not an alum, we have our large steel cross in Alumni Park. That's going to begin the first phase of renovation this fall, with all the new landscaping, grass, and then in the spring we will be adding a pavilion and a water feature. And so that's going to be an amazing enhancement for the college, but also the community, where we will be able to host events. But it is where we have our several barbecues and events for the college, but then we are really hoping to extend that to the community, and that's funded by an alum as well. So
yeah, very generous donor.
I know. I must say we've got a lot of great construction projects going on, and I am so grateful for our donors and our foundations that have supported us, because we haven't had to borrow any money, and that's a great place to be for a small college.
It certainly is. As someone who spends their day focused on that, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Some of the other things that we've had going on in the summer really relied on the community collaboration. So I can think of, we had the summer camps that happened this past summer. Yep. So those are targeted toward younger students, beginning with, kindergartners coming and doing reading camps over the summer. There's a partnership with the school city of Hammond there, and certainly our education department is essential there. The Dunes Learning Center, that was a partner for
Earth Camp.
For Earth Camp.
Our science faculty.
The science faculty were deeply engaged in that. Maroon Village helped us with the mindfulness camp, right.
Which
is aimed at some of the
resiliency
and younger students.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
We had the Tecton Media Camp, which
Love
was a lot of fun.
Love to see what they produce, because it's way beyond my skill set. So I love to see what the students come up with, and they're middle school students and using graphics, and
it's wonderful. And all of those,
Paul Restivo does. I think I wish that I was able to take that camp, because that would be fun.
I'm sure that you could probably sneak in if
I know, I'd embarrass myself, I think.
And all those camps will happen again next summer.
Shakespeare Theater, didn't you go to that?
The Shakespeare.
Performance?
So we had a theater camp this summer as well, and for the past several years, the Gary Shakespeare Company has been involved in that in various ways. And this past summer, in August, they actually performed in Alumni Park.
Yeah.
And that was a really nice turnout as well. They did their performance of a Shakespeare play, and we had neighbors come, some college family come, some other friends of the area came and got to enjoy that.
And that's the type of thing with the pavilion, to do, a theater in the park on a small scale, but still be able to do theater in the park. And then, we've talked a little bit about a couple times during the spring, fall, summer to do movie in the park and just have Alumni Park. And, it's going to be a really great asset for the community.
It really will. I'm very excited about
the
that.
Community garden. I get to look out my office and see the community garden, and it's all the marigolds are blooming. It's quite beautiful. I think they have several tomatoes, maybe wrapping up, and a couple other things.
They do a great job, and as I understand it, it helps feed some of the fauna in the area as well.
That's true.
But you've mentioned a couple of times the alumni, and I know that early in the year you made it an explicit point to meet as many alums as you could this year. So how's that been going? What's the experience been like? What have you learned in those interactions?
Yeah. So I remember it was between Christmas and New Year's. It's always a time for me to little reflect about my goals for the year ahead. And so one of my goals was to connect with 75 new alumni in 2025. And the significance of that is we are getting ready to kick off our 75th anniversary. And so I was thinking to myself, what's a good number? Of course, I always want to meet new alums, but I just made it a goal. Like, I want to meet 75 new alums this year in 2025. To connect more alums to the campus. And we have just, because we were a commuter campus for so long, I think that that's something that whenever I meet alums, they just talk about the amazing experience they had and how Calumet College changed their life. And, I think of an alum that I met with for the first time in Indianapolis. And, I witnessed their stories. And in his case, I witnessed his tears as he was telling me about the role of this professor in his life. And he said that if he was honest, she was probably one of the 3 to 4 most significant people in his life. And
no
he's
kidding.
Probably late 70s now. And, just to hear those stories, I was able to tell him, after I listened to a story about the role of the faculty and how accessible they are and how supportive, and she was available anytime, any day. And I said, that still exists today. So I think what warms my heart is when I talk to the alums and I feel their passion and really their emotion, that I'm able to give them great confidence that the incredible experience they had still exists in many ways today. I remember another alum that I met that talked about losing his mother during his senior year. And he said that day he was going to drop out of school because he just was really having a hard time processing it. And after class, one of the professors said, you seem a little distracted. And in the hallway, they had this conversation. And he stayed in school. And he said, if it had not been for that conversation in the hallway with my professor, who knew me well enough to connect with me afterwards and cared enough and compassionate enough, I probably never would have graduated. And I think that happens so often, whether it's a faculty member or, I know myself that when I walk through campus, I often talk to students, and there have been times when I can just tell a student is having a tough time. And of course, college is hard. Life is hard. There's lots of challenges. And for me to be able to say, have you talked to so-and-so, or do you have the resources you need? Sometimes I walk with them, and, that's just part of the accompaniment, just to walk them down the hall and make an introduction. And so, I think that's I've also remember an alum in Fort Wayne, just him talking about he's had a very successful career, and just that would have never happened without Calumet College. And so,
I am grateful every day that we get to do what we get to do. It's a vulnerable time in a person's life. It's a transitional time in a person's life, and I'm so grateful that we get to experience that and share that with people, and transform lives and make those great alums. It's a challenging time in the world for colleges, well, at least in the United States. The colleges have been in the news lately for a number of reasons. There are a lot of dramatic changes occurring within the Department of Education. What's your experience been managing that?
Yeah, that certainly it comes with leadership, and there are a lot of challenges, and that's not the funnest part of my job, for sure. But the Department of Ed, we've been incredibly blessed to receive 4 grants from the Department of Ed, and it's because we're a Hispanic serving institution, but we really are founding, and what we are today, we serve our community. So our community, the diversity, ethnic and racial diversity of our community is who we serve. That's who we've always served. And so we've been able to access these grants partly because the demographics of our students, but they support all students and they support the college. We are a small college. We don't have big coffers to rely on, and so these grants have been very helpful for us to support the college, which also supports the community and students. So we've been able to make a lot of upgrades with these grants, which of course those have been completed, but be able to support a lot of initiatives and our retention efforts. And so we're going to work through those because 3 of them as of next week will be discontinued. And so we've started that process, which, we didn't have grants before. We were always planning to roll them off. So we just are doing it a little faster than we needed to. So
very good. And they're calling time on us. So quickly looking at the year ahead, what's exciting you most?
Oh, God, I think the transformation of the college, the new opportunities. We have a master's in exercise and sports science, so being able to promote new academic programs, and then also hoping, what excites me is being able to build on the momentum of this past year, the incredible retention rates, the improvement in retention rates. They can always be better. So the improvement in retention rates and being able to repeat what has been a great start to the fall. And look for what excites me is our listeners and viewers saying, I'm going to stop by Calumet College and see what's going on the campus. And hopefully I get to meet some new alumni because I'm not at my 75 yet.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to welcome everyone to Calumet College of St. Joseph, and we thank you very much. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Thank you.
Where it might end, I turned to a stranger just like a friend.